already see the end of life. I said to death, my eyes are open. I read and told them there's a life. Eternal life awaits me, yes. No one dare deny me. And I'm gladly give my life for my people, keep my kingdom point the way. There's a small price to pay. You got to pray every day to the promise, and I understand the highest height, and the lowest depth. I'm not afraid of my last breath. Life is nothing but a test. May the gods only know what's next.
Alarms, hear the voice of God, and as I scan through your sacred land, make way to the afterlife. What's your problem? Now you crave, awaken your soul. Dive and devour the Red Sea. Take control and drown the enemies. Across the vast desert, move your feet along to the rhythm of the sand. Rise and shove it off your feet. If you won't make the bow down to fear. Chaos and new beginnings. Put your destiny and your magic in the open of the
My eyes
mind.
are open in eternal morning. The crown is golden. I have been chosen. My eyes are open in eternal morning. The crown is golden. I have been chosen.
Dive and devour the Red Sea. Take control and drown the enemies. Across the vast desert, move your feet along to the rhythm of the sand. Rise and shove it off your feet. If you won't make the bow down to fear. Chaos and new beginnings. Put your destiny and your magic in the open of the mind. Wake up, sundown, creatures and gods around. Beware, prepare, it's dangerous. They'll linger in the dark. Climb from below, temples and tombs will fall down. Explore the realms, what is meant to be, take it all. Obey, hear the voice of God, and as I scan through your sacred land, make way to the afterlife. What's your palace now you crave? Dive and devour the Red Sea. Take control and drown the enemies. Across the vast desert, move your feet along to the rhythm of the sand. Rise and shove it off your feet. If you won't make the bow down to fear. Chaos and new beginnings. Put your destiny and your magic in the open of the mind.
Hey, to have peace is Lord, there must describe. I already see the end of life. I said to death, my eyes are open. I read and told them there's a life. Eternal life awaits me, yes. No one dare deny me. And I'm gladly give my life for my people, keep my kingdom point the way. There's a small price to pay. You got to pray every day to the promise, and I understand the highest height, and the lowest depth. I'm not afraid of my last breath. Life is nothing but a test. May the gods only know what's next.
Alarms, hear the voice of God, and as I scan through your sacred land, make way.
What is going on, governors? Chiskel here, and today we're casting Ark of Osiris League, and we've got the grand finals, round 2. I'm here with Dragothian and Plato Gaming. Gentlemen, how are you?
Oh, very well. Thank you for asking. Good to be here.
Thanks for having us, Chis. It's going to be a great match. Round number 2 against these two teams. Super excited.
Yes, sir. It's round 2, and what an exciting round the first round was. I mean, I don't know that we expected 93 T to be able to pull off the win that they did. Certainly, if we just look at the Oryx, the way that players thought the match would go, this was a surprising outcome. And so here we are in the second round. What do you guys think is going to happen here? And I'll jump in and just say, historically, what we've seen is that teams adjust and they are able to counter the thing that got them in the last round. And we go to a round 3. That's very typical. What do you guys think is going to happen this time?
I'll jump in here. So I agree with you to a certain extent that that has almost always been the case. But that's been early in this Osiris League platform's history, right? Like people are still filling out their strategies and they're trying to figure out what's going to make them consistent winners. 6GGT kind of has already done that. They've been there, done that. This is their 4th championship for the realm of Anubis / Bastet. So, I mean, they've been winning across multiple realms and multiple years and multiple seasons of Osiris League. So when I look at these two teams, we have 93T, who, like you said, they made it to the finals, won the finals in Realm of Horus, which is a coveted title, but now have put themselves into position to have the game-winning match happen right in front of us here in the next 5 minutes, which I know all of us are looking forward to really seeing go down. 93T has been the one, to me, that has shown to be the more malleable team. They're the ones that have adjusted themselves over the years to get to this point where they are fighting for not only and having won a regular championship, but now looking for a grand finals championship ticker on their belt. So 60GT, however, I don't know if I've necessarily seen them make many adjustments because they've been so dominant over these years. They haven't really needed to. So I feel like maybe 93T, even though we've seen in the past where these teams that have lost and come back the next time and have a third match, I think 93T might just end up calling game today and shutting the door on this grand finals.
It is possible. I will say it's surprising that everybody's like, whoa, they beat GT. But like, remember to get to here, they beat 1V, right? Am I misremembering? That happened, right?
Nope. Yeah. They beat 1V, they beat JST, also very, very strong teams. And as Drago was saying, the Realm of Horus is a coveted title because there's so many good teams in that realm. Being the oldest realm, you have a lot of the familiar kingdoms. And yeah, 93T, the biggest thing for 60GT in that last game is, what do you even improve? Because they played a good game, even though
they sure did.
They lost the game. But 93T, their rotations and their tempo, just being able to pressure the structures and kind of make 60GT make those split-second decisions, those little increments, those little seconds actually, where 60GT has to decide what to do, that timing window is what 93T took advantage of. So I guess the biggest thing in this game is which team is going to make the opponents make decisions, because those decisions really creates those windows where they can use those windows so that they can create an advantage on the field. And that's essentially what 93T was able to do.
Man, okay, so every time we enter into one of these matches, I always ask, what do you think the score is going to be, or what is the spread, right? Like, who wins and by how many points? Drago kind of said, hey, 93 might shut the door here, but without even having to pick a team, pick a point range, gentlemen. How close is this game going to be?
I mean, I do have to remind everyone that I did successfily predict that last week.
Okay. Drago's like, excuse me, I called that last week.
Let's not skip over that. So, no, so I'm actually going to go back to back here. I think it's going to be a 5,000 point match between these two teams.
5,000 point match. So a little more than an arc worth of points.
Yeah.
All right, Plato, what do you think?
I'm going to have to stick with my gut feeling here with a 3K differential between these two teams. All
right. You know what I want to see? I'm just going to say what I want to see. I want to see this go down to like a 1,000 point game, gentlemen. I want to see. It's unlikely to be that way, but I want to see it come down to the wire. I want to see it go to game 3. Let's freaking go. This is going to be really fun to cast. So in just a few minutes, I'm going to jump in game here and we'll be able to spectate. As a reminder to everybody, we're on a pretty heavy delay with the stream in order to maintain the competitive integrity of the matchup, and that does feel very, very important to me, and I know also to the competitors, so thank you for appreciating that. Also, if you could do us the favor of, if you're watching in the chat, not sort of spoiling the score to everybody. That's a great way to get banned from the chat, is if you start posting the real-time score as opposed to where we're at watching with the delay. That is a great way to get in the very least, a timeout. So please be respectful of the other spectators today. I'm going to jump into the match now. Gentlemen, what are your final thoughts as I go pull up the match here?
Well, I'll just say again, I think, of course, we would all love to see like any match with top tier competitors like we have here in front of us. We want to see a very competitive match all the way to the end. And we even with it being a higher than 5,000 point delta last week, it was still a very competitive match right up towards the end. I think a big change, based off our first question, that I might see 60 GT make is they're going to pull back a little more on the caravanning. They've done caravanning pretty significantly throughout the Osiris League system, and then now that we've been in the grand finals, I've seen them caravan maybe a little more than I think they should, and especially in the grand finals, like we talked about last week, and you had brought up that there's no gear, there's no gathering speed gear, and that affects the speed at which you guys can get these caravans to produce their juicy goods. So I really think that they're going to pull that back, or at least they should, in my opinion, because I think they overdid it a little bit. I don't think that's what lost them the game, certainly, but I think it certainly didn't help.
Yeah, caravanning is just such a weird one here because there's no equipment. So it's pretty nerfed in this game mode to try to caravan. In this game mode in particular, remember, these are not players playing with their main accounts. These are standardized accounts with no equipment. So all those gathering boosts aren't here. I think gathering or caravanning really takes the biggest hit. And I'll be honest with you, I'm here for the fights anyways. So we are in the matchup now. It begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go, gentlemen. Let's get that hype in the chat for the matchup. This could be the final game of the season, crowning the best in the game. Folks on their way out. Fast marches. Tier 1s looking to get the structures. Do you guys think we're going to see anything unusual in this opener? We've seen 93 rally the outposts. They doing it again? Looks like it.
We have. Yeah, it looks like there's some good rallies coming across from both teams, actually. 14 rallies in total at the moment. Woo! Looks like 7 for each side. So it looks like they're going to be doing the same thing as 60 GT. And I think, if I remember correctly, last week, 93T didn't do your standard just push to the desert altar and camp there. They did a little bit of more spreading around with the Shrines of Life, which I think is a great idea. Not only potentially possessing those new buffs that the Shrine of Life provide, which is that troop health and march speed bonuses, but also it spreads out your opponent, and they're not going to necessarily be able to know what's going on because of the fog of war system that we're seeing in this type of setup now. So it's going to be something that you want to keep your enemy on their toes without necessarily having to overcommit yourself.
Okay. I'm looking around the map here, also seeing in the chat there may have been an audio issue at the start. Apparently the song was in auto-tune. My apologies. Hopefully that adds to the excitement. Apparently it was doubled.
I definitely just heard it myself.
Okay.
It is dubstepped for sure.
Dubstep, huh? Well,
you might have had two channels coming through.
In my audio monitoring, it sounded 100% okay. Too late to fix it now, however. Only one way forward.
That's the trouble with streaming with a delay.
Yeah, it sounded okay to me. It sounded just fine. It just, was doubled.
Okay. Well, I promise I wasn't trying to make a new song with the remix here. Okay. Well, chat, my apologies. We'll focus in on the match here and see where the action is. Gentlemen, where do you think the first major point of contention is going to be? Obviously, the altars are where teams typically go to hit. And we saw 93 be amazingly successful at that last week. Will they do that again?
Well,
I'm seeing a lot of movement towards that Shrine of Life that you're referring to, Drago. It seems like 60 GT, they learned from last match, and they're sending a lot of presence south of their bottom obelisk towards this Shrine of Life. And it kind of looks like they're outnumbered at their desert altar. So we'll have to see if that'll pay off and if they'll be able to push on the sky altar of a 93T in response. But yeah, the numbers on this bottom lane are very, very lopsided on each lane here, where 93T has more towards that desert altar lane, the inner lane, and then in the outer lane, I think 60GT has a lot of troops there. So
You're bringing up a great point. 60GT actually doing what 93T did last match. Look at the top lane. 60GT is very heavily committing towards that Shrine of Life on the top lane. I don't think there's enough, at least right off the bat here from 93T to take care of it, because there's only maybe 8 marches at the obelisk. And now 93T is looking like they're starting to see, hey, we need to adjust here a little bit. They placed a good sentry
That
there.
sentry's so good.
Yeah,
I mean, GT
critical.
knows what's happening here. They're like, we got you guys. We got you.
This is
93's
exactly
not sending
what-
anybody.
Yep.
this
They
is
don't-
exactly
but
what
they don't
60GT
know.
have to do.
They don't know.
Yep.
That's the thing. Look at the vision. They don't know. Oh, they know they do. They have a sentry too.
Yeah, they have a sentry as well. They have full vision. And this is exactly what 60GT have to do. As we were talking about, 93T pulling out all the wrinkles last game. So they were able to make 60GT have to make these decisions. Now 60GT, they're pulling out the wrinkle. They're pulling out the strategy to go to the Shrine of Life. So now 93T, I think in the first time this series, having to decide what to do. Do we trade the structure? Where do we go? Where do we put these marches? So this game, I feel like, is going to be very different from the previous one.
It's starting out that way. I can definitely see a difference already. So I definitely did not anticipate this kind of change from 60GT, and I probably should have known better. Bad Drago. Yeah, no, I think the tower placement has been fantastic so far from both teams, more so on the 93T side, I think. But 60GT, a little bit more prepared for those Shrine of Life pushes, which they saw last week, and I think it kind of disrupted them quite a bit. We have 2 altars from both sides being on each team, although one offensive, one defensive, so not too bad there. And both Shrines of War also flipped to the opposite teams than they should be at as well. So curious to see how this kind of falls into place as we come in towards the middle fight here in a couple minutes.
Look at these buildings as they fall off rep. It looks like there's a big prioritization from GT on the shrines, although they did lose their own Shrine of War.
They're about to
Sky
lose
Altar,
the other one too.
93T Sky Altar is under heavy contention though. And that's the thing. 60GT really prioritizing these outer lanes from both sides, defending their own Shrine of Life, attacking the opponent's Sky Altar. They really want to make sure that 93T have to make the decision. Do we prioritize these outer lane structures and potentially forfeit the first capture points for mid priority, or do we, also go in and respond to 60GT, because they have to choose one or the other right now.
Wow. Looking around the map, there's like so many places I want to look all at once, honestly.
Yep.
You guys will have to be the eyes directing me to the other places. I'm looking at the Sky Altar that's being attacked now by GT. Good garrison running. We've got 540 till arc. So, gentlemen, this is the point where typically you think about going to the middle, right?
Yeah, about 20 seconds is usually when I start peeling towards the middle. Yeah, we're already starting to see that from both sides. A couple people coming from the base. Obviously, you definitely want to be a little farther ahead of the game if you're coming from the base versus one of the forward obelisks. But yeah, I think some of the folks that are defending the altars and shrines and stuff will start to peel to the middle.
I think that's a great...
Sky Altar goes down.
Oof.
Yep.
That is a great point, by the way, about coming from the starting zone. Some number of players can't port in yet, and they really have to think through, hey, how am I going to get to the middle on time? And you can see, look, these players are peeling off. Even though they just took the Sky Altar, they could stay here, defend it. That's not what they're doing. They're running to the cities to reset on the cities. Or, I mean, okay, maybe they'll reset on the obelisk. That actually is a kind of cute play. I like that. But they're moving up there, and they urgently need to get to the middle. They cannot wait around.
All right, map starting to even out. That was definitely a good play from 60GT. If nothing else, that just delayed about 3 minutes, almost maybe 4 minutes of point generation, which again at 150 per minute, I mean that's quite a bit of points.
Hey, I mean, if the score continues like it is, it's going to be a 3-point game. I'm going to win that bet on how close the score is.
Here we go. Literally 5 minutes into the match.
Yeah, I mean, okay, too early to declare victory on a scoreboard differential, but I think the point is good. which is that, hey, this is close at the start. It's an even opening. Whereas before, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't GT have the dominating opening last time? But then 93 really ran the building game hard.
I think the building game was pretty stable by the time mid-fight happened. The biggest thing,
those shrines.
I think 93T was able to take the Shrine of Life specifically. One thing I will say about this game that's very different is, as we've been saying, 60GT in these outer lanes really making 93T have to respond. 60GT has been the dominant factor here, making 93T have these decisions because, it looks like they were able to delay the first captures, as you can see with the point differential. 93T decided to respond back by capturing their outer lane structures. So now I think 60GT should have the upper hand in terms of tempo when it comes to this mid-fight. Although there are a lot of 93T marches, they were able to respond a lot better than 60GT was in the beginning of last match.
I think what I'm seeing from both teams here, and it's something that, as an arc planner, right? Like you have to kind of figure out a lot of this stuff. I think the majority of the middle people that are coming in right now are from the home base. You haven't really seen too many people that have peeled out. They're starting to come in now, but then you start to run into the issue of what's happening at the bottom lane on the 60GT side, and that's where you start to get kind of picked off a little bit and weakened by other players that are coming to assault the Desert Altar. They peel off that Desert Altar assault to hit some of these reinforcements going into the middle. So that's why a lot of those folks that are coming in and balling up on either side for both teams, they're coming from that home base area, and it's really good because you can easily time that as somebody who's going to knowingly be in their home base. They know they're not going to be teleporting forward. They know exactly what time they need to be going to the middle. They're not going to be going to any structures. They know how to beeline and go that direction. We're starting to see this fight kind of kick off right now. Total vision being used. Yep, both sides.
There it is. They're getting ready. This is so hype. The first mid-brawl of the match. By the way, GT, oh, there it is. The first capture points just flipped over for 93. I was going to say they got a little more than 1,000-point lead, but no, it's back
There's that
to
400 points from
yeah.
Sky Altar.
I think it's because of those buildings they were able to contest that they get a little bit of edge here. And hey, if my prediction of 1,000-point game is correct, every little bit of edge is going to matter, gentlemen.
There goes the Shrine of War on the bottom lane in favor of 60GT as well, right before this fight starts.
Nice
That's not good for 93T. Those attack and defense percentages are going to be helpful in the fight ahead.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a 10% stat swing. People really forget about that. It's not just 5% of attack and defense for you. It's depriving your enemy of 5% attack and defense. So that's
also
big
taking
deal.
Shrine of Life on top lane. That's a huge stat bonus in the middle for 60GT. I'd see them to win this mid fight.
We got got March speed. I mean, that is a massive stat swing that they've just accomplished.
The opposite of first game.
Hey, wait a second.
This is the opposite of what happened.
Guys, we're forgetting the most important part of the strategy. Is that 93 likes to sometimes lose the arc on purpose.
I was waiting for you to bring that up.
No, take the buildings. Oh gosh, we lost the buildings. What will we do? And then they lose the arc, and they catch them on the backswing, and that's how they win.
Dust up
every time. There's dust up. Standard openers for both teams, I think. Were there 2 dust ups?
Shrine of Life taken. Yeah, there's 2 dust ups.
Okay, I only saw the one. Arc is
Arc
in.
spawned?
I only saw one too. I think it's just the one. 60GT casted dust up. So, no, maybe it's both.
It's both.
Okay. I'm seeing the graphics for
93 with the arc carry. Fastest hands in all the land.
They're losing the mid fight, but they always grab that arc first.
I know. How do you get the arc while losing the mid fight? I mean, maybe that's part of the reason you are losing the mid fight is you got a bunch of people committed to getting the arc, but still, it's like they don't care. They just want to buy some time so that when they come back, they can get the arc. That's like, I don't know, man. Oh, by the way, you think, hey, let's talk about Master Strategist for a moment, since it's super relevant to 93's strategy here.
Yeah.
They're not going to use Master Strategist now. It's too early. No one's got enough points accrued.
Don't have the points, yeah.
Right. But Do you guys think this match will be decided by a master strategist play?
I mean, I've been saying it, but
There's poetic justice to it. I mean, it's called Master Strategist. What a name. It's actually like the best named ability on the board, I would say.
Pretty apt.
Yeah. What's not to love about that? There goes the arc. Now, look, 93 is trying to stall the arc, but they're already on their way. That's what they do, man. This is just what they do. They got the Shrine of War. I do like that GT's got folks there. And you know what is perhaps most significant here is like one guy peeled off on the attack. One guy is like, I don't know, AFK, you know? and then like everybody else pretty much is with the carrier. But that carrier, I mean, they are on a razor's edge.
Under salt.
900 health.
900
oh my goodness.
health. Can you imagine a game being decided on 900 troops? Oh my gosh. We're going to have to make a new movie. Call it the 912 instead of the 300. But no, the arc is down. No heroics today from the remaining 912 troops in that march. They tried. But with the arc debuff making you take 200% more damage, that's a little bit rough. That's very funny. Chat says 2x the music is 2x the fun. Hey, chat, we appreciate you as casters. Thank you for being here. Drop some hype on the stream. Toss a like on here and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more Ark of Osiris League action with double the music, double the fun. I mean, the arc's down. Guys, do you see? Are you looking around? Do you think 93 has the attack vector here to get this, or not really?
I think they do, because they can go right back up the middle almost all the way.
Ooh,
they don't have to go on the sides.
Drago's hatching a plan. That's some evil genius right there. So just you take down the carrier and run it pack the middle?
Yeah, just look at both sides. You have a lot of 93T buffering both sides.
Yeah.
If you can clear this middle, grab the arc and run it upwards through the mid lane there, you've got buffers on the outside lanes to stop the 60 GT players from coming up from the obelisk areas. That's how I would do it anyway. I
mean, the balance of this game has always been having just enough troops in the right place at the right time to get the job done. Too many troops, and you fall in other places. Too few troops, and you fall in the place you needed to hold. So this is kind of a weird situation for GT. They need to bring this arc home, but they also need to not overcommit. The fact that it's taking time to score the arc is actually kind of on plan. There's nothing wrong with that. They just need to not lose it.
Yep.
Oh, boy. And here comes the 93 commit. They even have a tier 1 arc carrier in tow, ready to go, baby. I mean...
Pocket T1, baby.
Hey, nothing like having your T1s ready to get you some value, right? I mean, they were cheap.
Oh, there
they
it is.
Heal,
going.
They move fast.
Not moving.
The T1 carrier is actually playing the sort of extremities here, which I think is smart. They're on the outside because they know they can't move into this brawl. The area of effect damage will take them out. So they're really just kind of circling opportunistically like a shark, waiting for their opportunity to take a bite on that arc and carry it home. But I don't know that they're going to get that opportunity. GT is doing a really good job here of not overcommitting, but not undercommitting to this arc.
Yep. I agree 100%. And GT is doing exactly what they need to do. Like, not panicking, not flailing around, trying to hit everything that's coming in as it's coming in. The only thing that's important right now is that arc and its arc carrier. And they're just buzzsawing everything that gets anywhere near it, swarming like a school of fish.
Yeah. I mean, can I tell you what I would do? I'd panic. I would panic. I'd be
totally
like, save the arc, save the arc.
Everybody
no chill.
As all the structures fall around you.
Yeah, no, I mean, GT's got some serious chill the way that they're running this. It's methodical, it's incremental, and it's enough. And that is, I think, a really difficult but impressive balance that they've struck here with the quantity of escort marches they've got on this arc. It's really well done. There it goes, gentlemen. Slowly but surely making its way to safety. Now, Oh, let's put
There is
safety
still
in
a
air
lot of
quotes.
93T
Look at all this
marches.
93 on the way. Yeah.
There is a lot of 93T marches walking towards that arc. And
you're gonna break that rally. Going to the Shrine of War.
I mean, I think the weirdness here that is kind of hurting 93 is that I feel like GT is committed enough to this arc that the sort of trickle of marches coming in to stall the carrier isn't really getting the job done in the same way that it could, you know? Like they've got just enough defense for GT here that they really kind of shred the incoming 93 marches, manage that mischief very quickly, and then the next marches come in and are just getting really melted. So that grinder, as you were describing, is, I think, got the critical mass to do that. Too few troops, and you start to whittle down the players that are escorting the arc, but I just don't think that's happening in a meaningful way right now. And that is giving GT just a lot of opportunity to continue to march this arc.
93T, it looks like they'll take the Shrine of War, so that's a capture vector right there if they're able to get this arc down. But and 60 GT, I guess they just know that 93T is just consistently going to send poke marches upon poke marches towards this arc. So there's definitely been a lot of preparation from both teams here. 60 GT learning a lot in that with that opening, with the outside pressure, the outside lane pressure that they put in, and now with the protection of the arc with all these marches, just as you guys said, the shredder of 93T just shredding all the marches that go in there. So
93T takes that Shrine of War, and that brings up a very good point that I want to make on this. I think understanding that they weren't going to get this arc, I looked across the map as this was going back, just trying to see if they were switching to structure game quickly or if they were going to try and contest this. And obviously they've been contesting it. But I think they've been contesting it, not necessarily, obviously they had an opportunistic T1 march there to maybe make a little headway. But I think the reason that they're doing this is because they've been flipping these structures on the back end of this whole time. Look at the score. It went from a 500-600 point lead for GT. Now it's a 9,000 to 8,700 in favor of 93T. They've swapped already almost 1,000 points just because of the building switches. They haven't really held them, but they've swapped them, just like what happened with the Shrine of War here. They swapped it. They went after that Shrine of War instead of the arc.
Look, I'll be real. Look at that. They scored the arc. I feel like this whole sequence really benefited GT a lot, actually. I think this was extremely well played by GT. I don't know that they could have played it any better than they did. I actually struggle to think of a way that they could. I mean, they managed to hold their buildings while committing the least amount necessary to hold the arc. That is gosh darn impressive, the way that they just did that. I mean, honestly, this is going to be very difficult for 93 to beat if GT continues to play like this. If 93 can't get at least one of these arcs and go, ha, we gotcha, and they didn't take the buildings here, because remember, last time around, 93 was crushing the buildings and pressuring the arc, and they couldn't do that this time.
Yeah.
This is a very alarming start for 93, in my opinion, and a very impressive defense from GT as they capture this arc, and they are looking extremely well-timed and coordinated.
Yeah, the instant capture is a departure from what happened last game as well, where 60 GT held the arc for a little bit after capturing it the first time. And I feel like even though 60 GT was able to decide when the arc was captured, 93T actually used that capture window to their advantage. Just being able to create even more of a lead with the structures they were able to gain from mid. This is a far departure from that, where as you said, Chisco, 60 GT was able to hold some of their structures. And yes, 93T was able to come back a little bit in terms of points before the arc was captured. But now that the arc is captured, we see that there is about a 2.6K lead for 60 GT. And now they're probably going to be pressuring mid yet again. And I think this is going to be pointing towards 60 GT's strength, which has been these mid fights throughout this arc match. The first couple of mid fights, whenever they fully commit their murder ball, fully commit their resources towards this mid fight, they've been able to win it every single time. unless they're split, which what happened last game. But in this game, they have all the momentum, they have all the onus, and 9-3T is kind of in the back foot here.
They are, and this is big. You know, we talked last time about the significance of having a point lead. It forces your opponent into very difficult situations. They have to choose. The attacker can do whatever they want. I mean, they could take buildings, they could take arcs. They got choices, right? But the defender doesn't have the same, I think, amount of choices that can lead to a win. They start to get put into a position where they like have to hold buildings and arc. And if you have to hold buildings and arc, then you're vulnerable to a heavy push on either of those things. You see what I'm getting at? Like when you have to do everything instead of just one thing really well, you're in trouble. And when you have a point lead, you get to pick the one thing that you're going to do well.
I agree. I think the original conversation about aggressors versus defenders, I think that I know I agree with you guys, but I think I might have a different outcome from those thoughts. I mean, look at the rallies, right? Like on the rallies, who has all the rallies right now? It's 93T. 93T is rallying.
That is true.
60GT structures. 60GT really hasn't been
able to flip the Sky Altar too. Wow.
Yeah, they've flipped all of them. They've gone back and forth. They're just rotating, killing all of these like all the way down the line. I see the 2,500 point, and now it's 2,200 point lead for 60GT. 60GT, I'm going to make that prediction now. They're going to have to win all of these arcs to win this game. If they don't win one of these arcs, game's over. Because 93T is really taking these structures at will, one by one by one by one. And you can see it from the rallies. They're just behind. Like 60GT is behind on the rallies because they're defending. They're defending almost exclusively. Once this mid fight starts, 93T is constant aggressors for 10 minutes. And that's why I'm saying they are delaying the arc capture because, one, it's going to limit the amount of arcs that 60GT could possibly win. And two, it's giving them more and more time to keep flipping these buildings over and over and over where they're not generating any points. And if this ends up being a 2-arc match, that's 6,500 points. I think last week, 93T won the occupation score game by almost 10,000 points. So that's all they need.
I keep clicking all around because there are a lot of buildings getting hit, but I mean, with 3 minutes till arc, yeah, everybody's forming up. I keep looking for like, you know, where's the big change in ownership of buildings? It's just not the same as the last time we were spectating this match. I feel like I was constantly looking in at just this massive press on buildings, which I think resulted in 93T having 10,000 more building points, if I recall, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was a large number. But now we just don't see anything like that at all. And you're right that they are getting some incremental advantage. That amount sort of diminished at the moment, 590 to 440. But, you know, to me...
740 to 440 now.
Yeah.
Yep. And they've got a solid defense at that Sky Altar. I think 93T is going all in on this middle one, knowing that they need to get at least one of these middles victories to get one of these arcs. I think they're going to be going hard on this one. And obviously 60GT, I think, noticing that, but also being prepared for it as well. They're sending everything to the middle as well from the home base as well as the outside lanes. They may lose a desert altar for it, but if 60GT can secure this arc, it'll go a long way into them winning this match, forcing game 3.
Yeah, as Drago said, I think it'll all come down to this arc. One thing I will say about 93T is that they never have everything in one basket. They're always pressuring different things. Like right now, they're pressuring the outer lane structures, the Sky Altar right now. They have they have marches at the Shrine of Life in the bottom lane. So they're always making 60GT. What 60GT did in the beginning, these outer lane structures are important because it's so far away from mid. If you are pressuring these outer lane structures, then that means you will not be relevant for this mid fight as we start to see some skills popped in this middle lane.
Yeah, I've got my eyes on mid just to see like what happens. There were players poking last time. We do see 93 Pawpaw attacking the sort of reinforcements here as they get to the mid fight. 1 minute 18. I mean, this is going to break out any second.
Yeah, I feel like 93T have like these like cheese, not really cheeseburger because there's no cities to pop through. Oh, there you go. To the death used by 93T.
They want it. They want it bad.
There's Dust Up. Heaven's Grace. Love to see it. Great
Also,
ability.
Total Vision, I think, as well.
Wow. I always wonder what level of zoom should we watch the fight from. I want to watch it up close, but I also kind of want to zoom out and just see the sad face math. Because that really does tell us how is this going.
It's looking pretty even from the dot mode right now.
Roughly even right now. Although 93T looks like they're going back a little bit quicker starting about now.
Mm-hmm.
Still pretty even.
It is a mess in the middle.
Oh, that was a big chunk of 60 GT.
Okay, now I want to zoom out. We'll get the further out view here.
Okay, 93T is starting to pull it, I think.
I mean,
I will say the early sad face math, when you see marches go out super early, that might not be the best thing for a murder ball, because that means they could have potentially swarmed down that march until it died, not able to chain your rage cycle. So maybe that's essentially what happened, because we did see a lot of 93T marches sad face in the beginning.
60 GT grabs it first. They look for it first. Now it's down. Cool thing for 93 is they absolutely own the Ark of Osiris Temple right now.
A very decisive mid-fight. Very, very decisive.
All right. So is GT going to pull a 93 and get this Ark off of them?
So did Drago just completely give you guys the entire game plan here for the last 5 minutes? What was going to happen?
Yeah. I mean,
to be fair, that first GT arc, I really don't know what they could have done better though. That's the biggest thing. It's just
hard
93T
from the outside.
It's on
like we're
point.
watching, but it's really hard to know. Like, were they going for that arc? Right? Were they kind of not going for that arc? Because
one point I also wanted to make was, because 93T was, they were always pressing that arc, I feel like 60 GT were pressured to just instantly capture it, so they weren't able to time, should we capture it now for these two stabilizer structures? Should we capture it now? Because usually when you have arc, the biggest advantage is you can capture it whenever you want, so then you can kind of manipulate your back timers, your reset timers, so that you can have an advantage for these mid fights, the structure game, whatever it is. But 60 GT insta capped it, making 93T actually they're just so good knowing where to put their marches at the exact right time. So even though 60 GT was able to capture the arc, 93T were actually the ones capturing the structures and going mid first.
Look at how much more clean this arc carry is for 93T than the 60 GT.
Why is that?
Again, it's anticipation. I don't think 60 GT anticipated losing that mid fight. They fully expected to win.
So they weren't, you think, ready for an assault on the carrier, although, yeah, they were
definitely
right.
ready for that.
Look at this.
Yeah.
This carrier. They're awfully lonely,
He's
Drago. And Plato, they're lonely looking.
Yeah.
Just me
now,
and...
I think they're going to hold it, too. They're going to hold it for as long as possible.
Yeah, they got 99,825 of their friends holding that arc.
Yep.
Not a lot of troops in that march.
I don't think they have vision of the arc, too. You could see the GT Rin.
Got one player here. Yeah.
They don't really see where the arc is because they don't have all of their outposts. I believe when you have all of your outposts captured, you have full vision of the arc, but they're kind of just walking towards the vector where the arc would have came from, not really knowing where the arc is. So that's also one thing, one small thing. The outposts from 93T, the 60 GT didn't even know where exactly to walk because their mid fight was just wiped. So maybe they didn't even know, did we go bottom? Did we go top? Where did the arc go?
It is, I think, an or undervalued benefit of the outposts. Grants vision of the arc, and they give you visual range, which is pretty meaningful when you get enough of them. I thought that if you just had one, you had vision of the arc. Do you think you need all three of the outposts to have vision of the arc?
Depends on how close you are, I guess. It's a radius thing, so if you're close enough, you don't need any of them.
Well, regardless, at this point, that carrier is safe and sound, tucked away between the cities.
Yep, I expect 60GT to be going full on bore with these structures, understanding that they're going to need to make this structure game as even as possible going into what will be one more possible arc, unless there's a major catastrophe of a 60GT player coming and picking up the arc in about 10 minutes and then resetting the timer. That's the only way that they can avoid another one.
I'm just going to read out the outpost description here, Chisco. There's a point where it says, if you occupy 3 outposts near your safe area, you will be able to see the arc where the arc is at all times, and your visual range is increased. So you have to have all 3, Chisco.
That's new to me.
Wow.
I did not notice that.
That is quite significant.
93T, they got the arc and they took the outpost. So, and they wiped mid so heavily. What 93T was able to do, they had eyes on 60GT's arc at all times. 60GT didn't even know where the arc was at some points because they didn't have their outpost.
Interesting. That's a huge deal.
A big piece of the strategy. Funny that we as casters are only catching up to this so far in, but I bet you most players didn't realize that you had to have
the chance
all
to
3.
play in.
Yeah, I would be willing
New
to
map
believe
yet.
it.
Yikes. Well, I mean, it's looking good so far. I mean, again, this is a 800 point match right now. Still in favor of GT, but obviously 3,500 sitting in the pocket of 93T. Waiting to capture it for another 9 minutes and 52 seconds, likely, to try and give 60GT as little time as possible to go ahead and win this match with a final arc carry. But again, with how long it took 60GT to capture that first arc, even if they win that mid fight like they did the first time, it may not be enough time for 60GT to bring it back with a constant harass of 93T. This may come down to the wire. It may be a 5,000 or a 1,000 point game. It's really going to depend.
It's still pretty close. I mean, if the game were to end now, Chisco's 1,000 point prediction would be right, but that's totally not fair because the arc is in 93's hands. Yep. So it is going to swing in the favor of 93. And can I call attention to the fact for a moment that last game, I sort of made the joke that I was, like, oh, we're 93. We could take the arc whenever we want, right? We could take it whenever we want. Because they kind of, seems like historically they can. It seems like when they really go for the arc, they get it. They just proved they can do it again. They did it in the first game. They really went, it was the second arc where they did this, right?
Yep.
And here we are again. It's the second arc. And they did it. And the crazy part is they only needed the one arc to have enough points of differential in their favor. So what does GT have to do to not get into trouble in this game? I think they need the next arc. There's only 20 minutes left. I mean, there's not a lot of time. The arc can hold for 8 minutes. But there's time for another arc.
They need the Drago strat.
they need to get the arc and they need to do well with the buildings, right? And then they're fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think
that's
what cost them last
60
time
GT is on pace.
Yeah, I think GT is on pace. Like what cost them last time is that they lost buildings and they lost arc. Well, yeah, right. So now they're holding buildings and they lost the arc. And I think that puts them in an okay position if they get the final arc. Like they're still very well poised here.
Yes, they have every tool at their disposal to win this matchup still. There's going to be enough time. They just need to make sure they don't lose as badly on the structure game as they did last week. And they're doing that so far. Even though they're down on the structure game points right now, 93T is winning that phase of the game. They're winning the structure game. But it's not to the extent that it was last week. And again, if 93T does not win this next arc fight, and more importantly, lets 60GT capture this next arc that's going to spawn in about 15 minutes. This is going to be something that they're going to have to watch out for Master Strategist. They're going to have to watch out for making sure that this arc does not get a free carry because they're going to cast Master Strategist if they pull away from the main ball. It's a 100% chance.
I'm so excited for that. We have to see it happen, but that would be such a hype way to end the season. And just to remind everyone in all the viewers, if 93T win this game, the season's over. They are the champions. 60GT is playing for their championship lives right now, for the grand finals lives. So it's going to be super interesting to see what they can pull off, because they've been playing so well. They did exactly what they needed to in the opening. But the biggest thing is 93T they just somehow know how to pressure structures. I don't know how they do it, but there's always more 60GT structures blinking in the top right corner than there are 93 structures, making them be able to just have the pressure of, they have more vision around the map. They're able to flip more structures. It's just something about their timings and their windows is just so well played here.
Agreed.
I'm looking around the map, and guys, this structure game looks shockingly even. So I think it's going to come down to who gets the last arc. I think that 93 will have the point advantage because they will have an arc worth of points, but the last arc is going to decide this match, I think. It's not going to be gathering. It's not going to be buildings. It's going to be an arc game. And historically, that has benefited GT quite meaningfully. That's what they're good at. Even when they were losing to 1v, in the overall score, they were winning the mid fights. I recall myself saying, you know, they've got the best mid fight in the game. So do they still? That's what it's coming down to, I think.
I think it's a lot closer to even. And
I
now that you bring up provisioning, I'm seeing quite a few provisioning teams.
Really?
On the 60GT side.
No shot.
Yeah, I see at least 4 provisioners from 60GT.
Yeah.
Oh,
I see
wow.
6.
None from 93T.
That is interesting. I would not have expected to see that, quite frankly.
These are actually provisioning marches. I'm looking at it right now. There's Matilda Centurion. Is that his name? The green guy?
Whoa.
Like they're
Is that?
they have marches. Oh no, he's walking up now. Okay, maybe it was just a reinforcement march, but oh, there you go. I see Sundiak and Cleo. So yeah,
Okay.
they do have provisioners out there. It must be so nerve-wracking to be in this situation right now for both teams.
Yeah.
We're talking about master strategies, but it's such an unknown how things will go. For example, one of the biggest things that could happen is if you're trying to escort out an arc with master strategies and then the arc carrier dies and then the whole murder ball leaves without the arc, like that would be such a tragic way for this game to end. I guess
I think
one
they're going to
note,
need to do that.
yeah, they're definitely going to have to do that. 60GT. But I one note too is 93T did use to the death in the last murder ball.
True.
Meaning that 60GT for this upcoming mid fight that we're expecting will have to the death. They will have that skill. That is a game changer for this mid fight. And we'll have to see if they're able to utilize it to its full advantage. But if they use to the death, they won't be able to use master strategies because both of them cost 6 points. So it's such an interesting dilemma that they have here.
That's very true.
It is
Heaven's Grace will be available for both teams.
And it is impressive. 93 is still getting a little incremental
Taking some
value on these
buildings.
buildings.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters, but it doesn't
do.
hurt.
I do.
Oh, you
Every
do?
little bit's going to count.
Jago, do we get you on a team 1,000 point game? Is that what's happening right now?
I
I mean, if
that's
all
a
these
hard
little
no.
things matter, hey, it's a close game, isn't it?
Oh my
You always
goodness.
have to plan for your enemy capturing that arc at the end. If they don't, it's not going to matter a little bit. And I think that's actually what's going to happen. I think 93T is going to delay the arc capture enough to where 60GT does not capture it, and that's what's going to win them their first
Now, wait a
Osiris
minute.
League grand
I mean,
finals.
So
hold
no
on.
one's going to capture the arc.
Yeah.
So you think? Let's walk through this. We got 2 minutes left on the arc, 8.5 minutes to spawn the next arc. So that doesn't leave a lot of time. That's like 3.5 minutes or
Yeah.
so to 4 minutes.
Yeah. So even if they had a completely free run, it's still going to be very tight, and they're going to have to use Master Strategist.
Oh
And
baby.
is 93T going to enable 60GT to win so decisively in the middle that they can do that during a fight, which is basically what's going to have to happen.
So you're saying the play of the game is potentially going to be 60 GT using Master Strategist to bring the arc home if they're going to win.
That's what's going to take them to win. Correct. Because it's a 600 point match right now.
See, this is the advantage, as we were talking about, of having a point lead. You have options, and you force your opponent into certain things. So if you're in 93's shoes, you know they're going to probably save Master Strategist to retrieve the arc, right? The only other option is that they win the mid-fight so dominantly and so early that they can run it back properly.
Uncontested.
Which do you think, chat, is a more likely play? The uncontested arc return or the Master Strategist? I feel like the safer way is to just beat the snot out of your opponent and capture them properly. Yeah, a proper capture.
93T.
But
93T has Master Strategist as well. They can just plunk 30 players right on top of the arc carrier.
That's the issue, isn't it? that sure is.
Delay it.
The symmetry of the situation sure is the issue, isn't it?
Things go two ways, my friend.
So if both teams can Master Strategist on the carrier, the only option remaining is to Master Strategist away your carrier.
93T won't cast the skill until 60GT casts the skill because they want to know if they're going to use to the death. If they're going to use to the death, then they're going to save 6 points for Master Strategist.
Oh my gosh, Drago, Plato, I'm stressed. This is really intense. It's going to come down to the wire. The timing of Master Strategist is so difficult. It's not easy. I think you guys pointed this out, and maybe it was Plato even, who said, you realize the problem with using Master Strategist to bring the arc home is that if they take out the carrier, your whole team is out of the middle now. You've all flown away. You're gone. So you've basically forfeited the arc to the enemy team.
All 4 altars are blue now, by the way.
Oh, wow. No. GT has to get this arc. And if they're not careful, the arc may not be enough. That's the real danger now.
This is the 93 do this every single time. They capture the arc. They go full on these altars. They sad face back. They let 60GT capture the altars. But 60GT can't counter push because they have to start going mid. This is the exact same timer that we've been seeing throughout these past 2 games. And the reason why they've been having these tempo advantages, and that's why holding arc is so important, because you get to dictate, you get to manipulate when arc is captured. So you get to manipulate the timers here. We're going to start seeing 93T sad facing back home. And then all those sad face marches are just going to start walking mid.
Right to the mid. Yep, 6 minutes until arc spawns in the mid. All 4 altars are still blue, by the way.
They're still blue, and the sky altar, like the murder ball is not even close to the altar.
This is getting more and more precarious for GT by the second in a way that I genuinely didn't anticipate. I mean, I'm just kicking back, on the beach, sipping pina coladas over here, thinking that the map is all even, and it's not. It's not,
They turned on the switch right when they captured that arc.
They really did. I just didn't see this at all. And I'm like, whoa, hold on, wait a minute. This is a completely different context. And now I'm back to saying what I said earlier in the match, which is this is the danger of having the point lead, is that now GT has to do everything. Can 93 just ignore the arc? I think they can now, actually. 93 is in a very dominant position. They just ignore the arc. Why bother? We'll send a skeleton crew.
They could.
We'll hold all 4 altars, and we just win. GG. Auto. Checkmate.
3,600 points in favor of 93T.
I mean, bro.
I wonder if 93T knows that.
Points per minute.
I wonder if 93T knows how many provisioners there are for CGT, and if those provisioners will actually make a difference, because there's actually so many provisioners.
They wouldn't know.
Maybe 6 marches.
They'd have no clue. They don't have vision.
Just off studying the matches, just from seeing 60GT play, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, they should theoretically they should know, right? Like,
this is to my point where if you look at the desert altars, so 60GT were able to recapture the desert altar. 93T sad face back home. Look at all the 60 GT marches having to walk back home to refresh.
Yeah.
So it's this tempo advantage. It's this constant pressure that 93T, their timers have been so good. And look, 93T, to your point, Jessica, they're not going all mid.
No.
They're not going all mid. They have a murder ball in front of this desert altar.
When you have a lead,
just
you have
waiting.
choices. And that those choices are put your opponent in just a very precarious situation where you have to predict what your enemy will do and then outplay them, which is just very hard. 93 could do whatever they want. They could take the arc. They could take the buildings. They win either way. And GT has to exactly defend their buildings and get the arc, and that is tough. With a 4,000 point differential, almost exactly, they do not have a lot of wiggle room. None at all.
Drago might be right again.
That sentry.
Oh, in the middle here.
And
right
by
on
the
top
way,
of the murder ball.
93T just placed a defensive tower sentry. Perfect placement. They're going to kill 60 GT's tower sentry at the top of the lane.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
It's perfect spot.
That's pretty much like at the edge of the vision
Now
cone right
GT
there.
has no vision.
Oh,
Wow.
So that's why they put the sentry here.
Yeah.
Just far enough up to get some value, but far enough back to catch the enemy's sentry.
I'm seeing 93T play chess and 60 GT playing checkers right now. I feel like
stop it.
I gotta say it.
No.
I feel like I gotta say it. GT has overwhelmed their competition for many, many seasons. I think 93T has taken the next step in this game.
Dang. So Drago's basically declaring on behalf of 93. I mean, do you want to say it or should I?
I mean, they're gonna
Checkmate.
win. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
what,
look
that's
at
what
you.
Drago's thinking. Checkmate.
Look at you keeping it going. I love it.
Yeah. Hey, look. You want to play with the metaphor? I'm all for it. I do think that this is just a astonishingly dangerous position.
Shrine
for
of Life
DT.
on the bottom lane going down in favor of 93T as well.
Oh, wow.
That's March speed and health.
Yeah.
The thing is that, you know, I actually do think GT needs to take risks, and I think it was worth risking ability.
4 points
know?
used for total vision by 60 GT.
And in response,
4
there you go.
points used by 93T.
Oh, boy.
Both teams have 6 points.
Uh-huh. For those
All right, let's see.
keeping track, that's still 5
I
points
guarantee
remaining
you.
for the old master strategist.
If we see to the death on the screen in the next minute, game's over. Call it.
Yeah? Why's that?
Because 93T are going to plunk 30 players on top of the arc carrier.
The arc
and
carrier.
delay it.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah,
you think
delay
if
it.
GT uses to the death,
To the
they
death.
lose?
Yeah.
Because they can't use Master Strategist. That's the only chance they have to get this back. And even then, they're still down by 400 points with an arc capture.
So 93 should use nothing, and GT should use nothing. And
GT should use Master Strategist when they get the arc and
yes,
hopefully
because
execute it
they can't
100%.
use anything because they have to have master strategist. I mean, maybe
Correct.
if they had war drums or mystical on the bar, they could use one of those. But like, I don't know that they do.
You see to the death's not being used.
Yeah,
They should have used to the
Yep.
death last match instead of
Yeah, the last mid fight. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
yeah,
I
because
meant.
they lost the last mid fight.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so okay, let's walk through that. So if they didn't have to the death in the bar, I guess it wouldn't change anything about what they're doing now, would it?
Look where the
Yeah.
fight's happening too. 20 seconds left until the arc spawns, and it's so far south
No, I
of
mean,
that
Yeah.
temple with 3 players just camping the temple from 93T. This is
Oh,
perfect.
here we go.
This is perfect.
We got one Red March, the hero of the match.
Rin
Will
the
they be
hero.
able to
Yeah.
get first tap here?
Rin.
I mean, look, from a GT perspective,
There it is. Master strategy.
wow, that's
casting
risky. Would not have done it that way.
wow.
93T's doing it.
That is a perfectly
5,
timed. They're
4,
gone. They got it.
3,
100%. They
2,
have this.
1.
100%.
They got it. Now they
Did
got to
they?
keep it for
Wait,
like 5
wait.
more seconds.
Keep
Wait.
it alive.
5
Keep it
more
alive.
seconds.
Wait.
No, it's
Down.
dead.
They lost
It's
it.
dead.
They lost it.
They did
Oh
not
my
need to do
gosh,
that.
what
That
an
was
error.
a mistake.
What an error. They're
Huge
so
error.
punished. Oh, that
Huge
was
error.
completely unnecessary. Now,
Now
GT
there's a master
strategist.
strategist for 60 GT.
They're going to cap it.
Oh, why? Oh my God.
Too many
Couldn't they have killed
players
off
are
the blue
inside there.
marches first?
Potentially
They had
not
4
bringing
minutes
back
left.
the arc
Why would they
carrier.
do this? They lost
With the arc carrier is dead. Arc carrier is dead for 60 GT though.
What are they doing? Everyone
There's
is
no
throwing.
one. There's no one capping the arc.
Yeah, there's people picking it up, but not picked
Too
up quick
late.
enough.
Everyone is
Wasted.
throwing.
2 master
What is
strategists wasted.
happening?
Oh my goodness.
Everyone is throwing.
Look, I put my plans out there for them to take victory. I can't fix what just happened. Okay, I can't predict the crazy
Why
town
not
that just
waited
happened.
like 20 seconds to secure
what I'm
the
saying.
thing, man? Or
Unbelievable.
10 seconds. Oh,
So
I am so
my
confused.
He comes in
God.
with the offensive master strategist
What
when they just needed to use it as a defensive
situation.
measure.
They're leaving the carrier alone. No, that's how they lost the first match. Don't do it.
3 minutes left.
Death wish coming
The
through.
commitment to repeating the mistakes is
Unbelievable.
astonishing. No, save the carrier.
One,
Oh my
one thing I'll say
gosh.
about the 60 GT master strategy, I think they did it backwards because the marches didn't teleport out.
No.
The marches didn't teleport out.
So they just didn't
So-
even use the ability correctly? Or did they bring the marches
I don't
in?
think
Or what
so.
happened?
I don't think they used it properly, Chisco.
Bro,
'Cause their-
everyone
their
is
marches
throwing.
were still-
I am throwing. I'm throwing. I can't handle. I'm on tilt.
I was gonna say.
can't. I'm watching with only one eye open. I like can't handle what's
We
going
gotta
on
watch the
here.
replay of
stress
that.
is so
That
intense.
That moment was so crazy. Chat has been locked on the stream. Like that's how crazy this just what just happened, because we know what they're going, like something's going to happen in chat once the delay catches up to them. Poor people.
Oh my gosh.
Poor people.
I
This arc is
can't,
moving
was-
kind of fast though. 2
I
minutes.
can't handle it, Drago.
They need to drop this arc carrier. There's still a chance.
It
but
gotta
again,
go to
I
the
mean,
outpost, right?
2
Look,
minutes
it gotta
left
go to
is
this
really
outpost.
tough. This is what 93 does so
5,000
well.
It's a 5,000 point match though. I mean, even this arc is not going to win it.
So okay. So what you're telling
Then the
me is
provisions.
even though GT's use of Master Strategist was a little wonky, that it
A
wouldn't have
little
been enough
wonky?
anyways. That's what you're telling me.
As of right this second, yes.
But we don't know that for sure
have a
because
minute and a half.
provisioners. That thing
Yeah.
that Chiscool said, that's not going to matter. Could matter.
It could. If they cap the arc, it'll be your victory from a prediction standpoint. Once again, if everything goes the way that
the
I
old
planned it out to
1,000
be,
point game.
I
will
think the
also
provisioners already went home. I don't see any provisioners from 60 GT side
Oh
anymore,
my
except for one.
Gosh.
And they already
Drago be
scored
like,
1.2K worth
They're-
of provisioning score.
They're playing chess and checkers. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
GT
And
and,
then
93
somebody
be
just
like,
comes
nah, we
over
just
here.
flipping the table over
Yeah,
here.
exactly. I was
Actually,
gonna
we
say that.
just
Both of
flipping
them
the
just freaking
table.
upended the chessboard. I swear to
Yeah.
God.
Like, what just happened?
They're like, screw this whole thing.
Yeah, like, what?
Unbelievable.
Huh?
This was a grand finals match for the ages, 100%.
Yeah, 93's got
93
the ambush
coming
on this,
in
man.
from- yeah.
41
Yeah, they're
seconds,
coming in
no
from
chance
behind.
of scoring this.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
mean,
the march, even if it doesn't die, has 43 seconds to the outpost. So
it's not
Yeah,
enough time.
it's done.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's GG. Now,
That's
Drago, do you want to say it?
GG.
Do you want to say it?
I kind of want you to say it.
Checkmate, baby.
There it is.
Checkmate.
There you go.
I don't think there's a way for GT to get back into this one with 10 seconds left. What an amazing match.
Watch
Drop
93T
some
pick
hype
it up
on the
right before
stream
the
by
end,
throwing a
too.
like on here. Consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss
I
more
got it.
Arc of Osiris insanity. I mean, my brain is just melted from what just happened. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
MVP at 212,000 points. That's 60 GT BCK. The final score, 34,259 to the 28,685. 1093. Your Arc of Osiris Grand Champions. Wow.
Occupation score looking very favorable to 93T, like we just said at the beginning. They needed to win that, and they did. They actually won the arc score as well by 500 points, denying this last capture to 60 GT. And again, 60 GT deciding 1,500 points of provisioning was worth it. Which again, 220 for 93T. That's basically March's caravan hopping to get to places. That's really all that is.
Yeah, I mean, this is an incredible outcome for an even more incredible game.
Wow.
Congratulations again to 93T. Both of these teams are absolute monsters, titans of teams. They're very, very, very incredible at Ark of Osiris League. And no doubt they're eager to get back to slugging it out in some KVKs. So if y'all have enjoyed this season of Ark of Osiris League, smash the like on the stream, subscribe to the channel, and there's Osiris Grand Prix coverage probably coming up soon. I got to go refresh myself on the timeline of when that's going down, but the Grand Prix is going to be more
starts November.
Exciting. Ark of Osiris. November. You're not going to want to miss it. Gentlemen, any final thoughts to wrap up the season?
Wow. I mean, this has been an amazing, enticing, and I definitely have to say just an amazing watch for everybody involved from the get-go. I know that, again, the beginning of the seasons tend to be a little bit rough, but then once we get to that cream of the crop, things start coming out. We saw a lot of contenders get eliminated early. We saw some new champions for realms that have potentially been won by other more established teams that have won it before. That's over now. We have a new grand champion with 93T winning 2 matches in a row decisively by 5,000 points, I might add. I mean, this is just a win. This is a win for everybody in the game and everybody involved, including myself. So really appreciate everybody that participated and did some of the things that I couldn't do. Actually, I can say what's going to happen, but executing it is a whole nother game. And this is exactly what these teams did. Yeah.
It's easy to comment and cast.
Yeah,
but
it's easy for me to say what needs to happen,
easy to play. So very well done by both teams. Plato, any thoughts wrapping up the season?
Yeah, my first season ever casting.
Yeah,
thank you to you two for having me and teaching me how to cast and all that kind of stuff. And this first season of Raging Sands, I feel like we've been casting Raging Sands forever, but it's crazy to think this is the first time we had fog, first time we had master strategies, and those things are really, really spiced up the Osiris League season, in my opinion. And yeah, Scuff Tigers, 60GT, and to all the teams that participated, shout out to you guys for making this season so much fun.
All right, folks.
Thanks.
I appreciate each and every one of you in the cast. We're going to head out. Our final sign-off for the season. Thank you again, Plato and Drago. Big shout out to the makers of Rise of Kingdoms for bringing us on as casters. We very much appreciate the opportunity, and we'll be back for more Ark of Osiris League and Grand Prix gameplay in the upcoming Grand Prix and the subsequent seasons for Ark of Osiris League, so subscribe to the channel. Until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom. Take care, everybody.